After a day off from the NBA, we are back in the middle of chaos once again. Players being rolled out left and right. Lots of value. Also, really soft pricing today on DraftKings. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to go game by game looking at my projections, Stokastic projections, and the ownership that they create as well. We're also going to hop on Unabated, check out the prop markets right now, see what's looking good on Underdog, PrizePicks, and some of the top sports as well, DraftKings and FanDuel. Of course, we'll sit out some lineups on Stokastic too. Let's get into it because we got no time to waste. A lot of games today. If you are watching this one, hit that like button. It does go a long way, even though I haven't earned it yet if you're just tuning in right now. We got the projections on the screen right now, going game by game. Detroit, 111.5 implied points. Charlotte, 109.5 implied points. And this is a really weird slate today because there's a lot of guys that project pretty well, a lot of guys that seem playable, that look like good enough plays. The issue is that there are some guys that project so well, that look so good, that those guys look even more unfadeable. But as a result, a lot of tournament options. Again, you have a pretty big slate tonight as well, even bigger if you're playing on FanDuel, as it's been the case every night. But for today, Detroit looks playable, but on a slate like this, they're still not really coming up that much. You got 10%-ish ownership for Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Tobias Harris. Ivey, I think in particular, makes lineups work well with the dual position eligibility. And that's $6,100 price tag for him. But Cunningham projects for 45.4 for me, 44.6 for Stokastic. So he looks like a solid tournament play with some upside in the game against Charlotte too, that you expect to be competitive on both sides of the equation. Detroit, again, just a 2-point favorite on the road today. Besides that, Jaden Ivey, the price tag, again, I mentioned. Jalen Duren looks okay, but not a priority play for me. A lot better center plays, a lot better projected center plays right beneath him salary-wise as well, based on my projections. Tobias Harris looks okay as a wing play. Again, small forwards and power forwards, as are always the case of pretty much every slate. You need these guys to really just work at any price point. Tobias Harris is one of the guys, projects well enough, might come up a little bit in the sim. It's basically how that looks. Squirt, squirt, baby. Oh, God damn it. It's not a football show. You know, it's been a distracting day, but hey, we're back in the NBA streets. There we go. It even like popped for you. The basketball pops because that's why I did it, I'm sure. Appreciate the chat tuning in. Eddie, appreciate you being here as well. And yeah, lots of games. So bear with me if I don't, I'm not the most diligent in being a chat performer today. God damn it. You get me on this every time. Charlotte, 109.5 implied points. Nobody here looks that good to me. Trey Mann, good starts the year. 27% of usage rate, rounding up a little bit there. 25% assist rate. Shooting fairly well. 1.1 fantasy points per minute. So Trey Mann, give him kudos. Still don't think he's a great play on the slate. But again, you have that multi-position eligibility for him and a decent fantasy per minute performer. So Trey Mann, playable. Not a priority on a slate like this. Besides that, LaMelo has big upside. Don't love the price tag for him. Probably playable in other formats on Underdog. I think he falls enough in rooms today. Was one thing you could say. Maybe take him in a Battle Royale, whatever the hoops drafts are on there. 3% ownership for him. Tournament option. Besides that, not a lot to love on Charlotte, besides the fact that if you were to take some Detroit guys, bringing LaMelo back, bringing, Bridges not so much. Trey Mann back, maybe Brandon Miller back. This game could certainly go off, but it's not one that I'm really going to go to my way to target today. Orlando, very important plays for me today in this one. 111.3 implied points here for Orlando's side. So no Banchero again, no Wendell Carter again. As a result, Goga Bitadze to me looks like one of the best plays in the slate now. This is one where I always say, please feel free to default to Stokastic. They have him at 27.8. I've got him at 34.2 DraftKings points. That said, Goga Bitadze has been playing extremely well at court time without Wendell Carter and Banchero on the court. He also is getting enough minutes right now. Started the last game. Mo Wagner played behind him. If Mo Wagner is starting, then swap that. But certainly if he's going against Indiana, you could throw the revenge game, a little sprinkle on top of that as well. Bitadze at 4,800 looks like a pretty strong center play. One of my preferred builds that I know I'm going to try to get to a good amount tonight is going to be pay up at center, whether that be Anthony Davis, Jokic in particular. Love Jokic a lot tonight. Could also be going down a little bit more to Karl Anthony Towns. But pairing that with Bitadze, I think is the move for me. So like Bitadze a lot, again, but my projection is substantially higher than Stokastic. So if you don't want to chase me with it, 13% ownership seems like enough. Jalen Suggs, another priority play for me. He's been great to start the year. 1.22 fantasy points per minute. I got him at 1.27 tonight. Picks up a little bit more usage, a little more assist upside, even a little bit more rebounding with Paolo Banchero off the court. So for him, I got him at 43 fantasy points. Stokastic has him at 37.8. If my guess would really be that for them, they're looking at the longer term projection for him. To me, Suggs has played well enough in the small sample size without Banchero and without Wendell Carter that should count more. And also the fact he's been playing out of his mind to start the year. Like he's shooting more, he's assisting more. He's also been shooting fairly well. You can see 59% true shooting here. Jalen Suggs has been a good player. So I like Suggs here. He's got 18% ownership. I'm sure I'll have more than that. Have I been? I thought Spags has been a lock button. Yeah, Suggs has been a lock button as well. Again, it's just a really good opportunity for him right now. Don't think he's priced up quite enough to reflect the fact that Banchero out for a month. So For Suggs, I'm pretty happy getting as much of him as I can get. The sim I ran before the show, I was getting Suggs in 47% of lineups. So I'm going above the field on Suggs. Again, having really well projected today. Franz Wagner looks pretty good. If you're not playing Suggs, I would think Franz looks better. Feels like Franz is due a big day. He's got 9% ownership on him, so he's not underrepresented by any stretch. But Franz, good per minute producer. I had him at 1.19 per minute tonight. Projected for 33 minutes overall. The issue, I guess, of Orlando is that they don't play, 37-ish minutes that much. You're looking more at the low 30s, and that is kind of a distinction point. When you have a slate, a lot of teams are playing upwards of those high 30s minutes. But for Franz Wagner, like the usage for him, like the opportunity. And again, no Banchero. Jones up a lot of opportunity against, an Indiana team as well that does play pretty fast and not great defensively. Indiana side, not a lot to love from me up top with Tyrese Halliburton. I've not been a big fan of his. His usage down to 22% to start the year, assist rate 31%. As I've mentioned a few times on here, ever since they traded for Siakam, Halliburton has just not been the same player. Had some spikes, in the playoffs run, that certainly was there for him. But in normal games, he's just not having the ball in his hands as much as you want to have for a guy who's priced at 8K. So I think he's inappropriately priced right now. I've got him at a 38.5 projection, which is not a good value. If you want to play him for a tournament, you can, but he's still got 8% ownership projected for him, which is a lot on a slate this size. Siakam at number 2 here. I think he's cusp playable, a $7,600 salary, dual position eligibility with power forward and center. He looks okay, 10% ownership, not a priority play for me. Siakam-wise, I don't think I got a lot of this team overall in the sim. Yeah, I got 5% of them. Nobody on the team above 15%. That's going to Matherin. But Miles Turner playable. Again, if I have the big projection on Todd, say I'm not going to get as much Turner, but he's an okay play here. 5.7x value for me. A little bit lower for Stokastic. Benedict Matherin, good usage on the year, but pretty much even with these guys, but nobody really dominating it. Honestly, one of the more clean splits you'll find of a team here. Nobody above 25% usage amongst the big 4 guys for Indiana. So really, it's hard for these guys to stand out unless one of them is out. So all tournament options, and I'd say Matherin, Turner, and Siakam, all a little bit underpriced. Halliburton, I'd say more than appropriately priced. New York, one of the teams I get projected pretty well every time out. They are facing a fully depleted Atlanta team. DeAndre Hunter in this game still questionable, so he's not in for a projection right now, but I haven't taken him out of everything because he might go today. New York side, though, looks really good. Josh Hart has been a pretty strong wing play overall to start the year. Dual position eligibility for him. He's averaging 0.9 fantasy points per minute on the year. Tonight, I'd have him at 1 flat, so the fact he's playing about 37.5 minutes tonight or projected to be playing that, that's the main reason he gets a Josh Hart. Actually got to Anunoby a little bit as well. Didn't get to Mikal Bridges quite as much. You can see I have a pretty good projection on Anunoby, not so good on Mikal Bridges with $1,000 more in salary. These guys are all functionally the same play, but Josh Hart, a little more minutes, a little more rebounding, a little more assisting is making him look good. But I do worry about him a little bit. I keep getting him every slate. He was also chalk last slate. Josh Hart, I think the issue is that he does historically project for a role where Towns isn't out there. So if you're looking at his per possession numbers are a little bit higher than they probably should be. So if you wanted to bump Josh Hart down, you could. The issue is, again, 38 minutes contributing in every category. So that's a little bit tough to fade. Jalen Brunson, going to get 13% owned. I don't think I'll get to him very much, but his price tag's pretty low. He's producing fairly well, 1.14 fantasy points per minute. I do favor Towns overall. Again, if you're not paying for Jokic, in particular, you're not paying for AD if he's going to go tonight, then you can pay for Towns, and I think that'd be fine. But I do like him as a play overall. Atlanta with the Capella-Okonkwo combination, not a lot to worry about for them. On Atlanta's side, nobody looks that great to me. Jalen Johnson, good on the year. Happy with how he's playing overall. You can get to him, but again, on this slate, these guys were all under 1% owned, so certainly tournament options. New York, though, pretty tough defense. Hard to love anything on Atlanta side, but Jalen Johnson, I think, is always playable. And Trae Young, going to be unowned, but you're still kind of paying the price tag for him, scoring almost 70 a couple weeks ago, or I guess a week ago when I had him as a thumbnail guy in this video, so wouldn't want to do that. If LaMelo's out, we're all still playing Trey Mann, Watson, and Strother, Najee, mixing up the pay-ups. I guess. There's still enough games here. You could pay for the middle tier as well. I'm not sure that's the case. And I know for me too, Russell Westbrook projected to be pretty chalky right now. That's going to be one way people spend money. Certainly if LaMelo were out, Trey Mann would become one of the chalk plays in the day. But I think it would still be, I don't think Strother is going to be as chalky as you think. It's going to be Najee though. Najee Marshall, we'll talk about in a moment, but Najee will be certainly very well owned. All right, we got Golden State, 111.3 implied points. Boston, 117.8. Nothing on Golden State looks good to me. They're sort of priced for the time without Steph Curry still. Steph Curry as well, not using the ball quite as much as he has in the past. 31% usage, 38% assist rate, come down a little bit with some of the high usage guys in the rotation now, like Buddy Hield, Kuminga shooting the ball a good amount as well. Even Wiggins, still 24% usage on the year. So it's sort of cutting into Steph's overall, at least for me right now, in terms of that price point. Besides that, Golden State, nothing really to like here. Boston, no Jaylen Brown, though. So a lot to like on this side. For Jaylen Brown being out, Derek White for me is always a big beneficiary. I've got him as one of the better values on the slate. Dual position eligibility for him as well at a $6,900 salary. So I think Derek White's a pretty solid play. Tatum, I like Jokic substantially more. I like Luka substantially more. That said, Tatum is the small forward, power forward equivalency of it. So he's got a pretty good projection for me. The game certainly should be competitive. You would think there's a chance Boston can run away with it. If they do run away with it, probably comes greatly at the hands of Jason Tatum. So I like the spot for Tatum overall, but I don't know if he's going to be a priority play for me just because Jokic and Luka miles above in projection. I've got Luka at 60. I'm low on him compared to Stokastic. I've got Jokic at almost 70, and I'm high on that compared to Stokastic. So as a result, both guys to me, this look like better plays to Tatum right now. A shout out to FectMD. Appreciate all you guys who join us here. Of course, if you're new or a regular here and you have for some reason subscribed, please do that down below. I'm building this brand new channel up here, the NBA version of all the NFL process I bring every day. Of course, NBA has been my biggest success. I've made the most money here to help me buy this house, largely from NBA winnings. So if you are coming on board here, just trust the process, and hopefully I'll give you some good insights here. And of course, check out our sponsors as well. Stokastic, we'll see the sim from them coming up. Unabated, $30 off all the monthly patches now. They got some people are abusing the weekly ones, I guess. So only monthly patches, but $30 off. Link in the description for Unabated, who I'll show you guys in a little bit as well. Boston, basically to me, these guys all playable. Tatum priority, White a priority, Peyton Pritchard lesser priority, but he's in play enough. Cornette and Kata, whoever starts between them looks okay, but right now they actually both projected decently well. Kata's 37% ownership. I personally am probably not going to be with as much. Thought he looked okay starting for Cornette the last time out, but I think I'd personally prefer to pay up more, get Goga, because I think Goga's going to give you, 30. Kata would be pretty hard for him to get to 30 fantasy points, I think. Let's see what we got here. Good afternoons indeed. Good afternoons indeed. San Antonio, 104.3. Houston, 110.8 implied points. San Antonio today missing Jeremy Sohan. That's a pretty big one. Opens up a lot of usage, a lot of possessions because he's been shooting the ball like he's like a legit player. He's actually been playing like a legit player too. But it opens things up for Wemby a little bit more. Opens things up for Chris Paul a little bit more. Chris Paul to me earlier today looked like a much better play. Still got him a little bit better projected than Stokastic. Got him at 32.5 compared to 32.2. He's at a 46% assist rate on the year. The assist rate does go down a little bit without Sohan out there, which I don't know that it should. Feels like getting the ball to Keldon Johnson should work enough. Getting the ball to Barnes should work. So I would say if you want, guess depending on if LaMelo were to sit out, that would change things a little bit with Trey Mann. But for right now, if you were to want to pivot to Westbrook, I think Chris Paul's a very live pivot to Westbrook as just pure point guard plays. Get a lot of opportunity here. Should be a competitive game as well. And the assist rate for him has been really high. He's basically dominating the ball a little bit more. And if he gets more shots up without Sohan out there, it's going to make Chris Paul a little bit better than he's looked so far to start the year. He's got 15% ownership on him as well. Wemby looks a little bit better without Sohan as well. He's got 9% ownership. Again, less of a priority to me than Jokic, than AD. Even compared to Goga, like relative to the value there, I'd rather play Goga in lineups. But as a tournament play, we saw what he could do last time out where he had 9 blocks. He can get you a triple-double without assists, and maybe now without Sohan out there, maybe starts to get a little bit more on the assist side of things as well. Having the ball in his hands a little bit more. So I got him at 51.7. So Stokastic has been 50.4. I think he's an okay play, but not a priority center play for me today. Everything else here, Keldon Johnson playable, Champagny playable. Everything else here, not so much. Stephon Castle, if he starts, he should look a little bit better, but he's still getting 27.8 minutes projected. So I'm not sure that Castle actually matters on the slate. 8% ownership going his way, though. Houston on their side, Şengün always project fairly well for me. Sim-wise, I got a good amount of Tari Eason. 5.5x value is what I have him at today. He produces well per minute. The issue is like he does have the one monster game, kind of weighting things a little bit higher. So wouldn't say to go out of your way to get Tari Eason, especially at a 23.7 minute projection. But this kind of spot against San Antonio, maybe they, I don't know. I don't know what his pathway to more court time would be necessarily. But I do think he could produce pretty well against a second unit that's pretty barren. So Tari Eason, I'll plant a little bit of a flag for here as one of the better values. I'm at that wing spot. For Şengün, I think is a good center play as well, but would prefer to have Towns. I would prefer to have Wemby. Would prefer to, if I'm growing up higher, prefer to have Jokic, prefer to have AD, would prefer to go down and get Batadze. So for Şengün in this slate, should be competitive for the most part. Probably gets blocked a little bit more against Wemby. Besides that, for Şengün, though, competitive games for him, not that high of a price tag, rather. Wouldn't say a great price tag either, but certainly good enough. These kind of games for Şengün certainly can be good. The issue sometimes just doesn't close, which is not a great thing to have when you are paying that much. Lakers 114.8 implied points. Memphis 116.3. I do like Anthony Davis in the spot. He's questionable right now. If he were out, make LeBron a lot more of an appealing play. Right now, LeBron's still projected for 33% ownership. I am not there as much. Based on his rates so far this year, his usage is down a little bit, 25.3%. Assist rate down to 35.1%. So he's not quite the same player. And some of that could be Rui Hachimura, who's currently questionable. He was actually doubtful earlier in the day with an illness, but apparently the illness not that bad. So LeBron, I think those are two things that affect things right now. If AD were out, LeBron becomes a lot better play. Jackson Hayes, I think, would become another value center you could go to. You should see minutes. Honestly, I don't even know they're going to give minutes to at the 4. I guess LeBron would play more 4. Hayes gets more work. Koloko is going to be available today, I think, so they give him some minutes. No Christian Wood still. But there's going to be a lot of minutes to go around for these guys. Reeves would look better to me. He already projects fairly well. Russell would look better to me. He already projects fairly well. So the AD injury thing, one of the most important ones on the slate. And important, I think, keeps some salary open there too, where AD is probably not going to hit this 16.5% ownership. We don't know he's playing before the slate starts and locks. Memphis aside, and again, really, that's the main thing there. Watch out for AD's injury and watch out for a lot of chalk. It's already chalky now. It's going to be even chalkier if AD is out. On Memphis aside, John Morant's still playable to me, though the minutes are a little bit tough. Another guy who has about 32.7 minutes projected for him today. If you're not getting into high 30s, a little bit hard in a slate of this size. That said, he's been producing pretty well. I've him at 1.44 fantasy points per minute. He's hit highs of 1.6 fantasy points per minute at times this year. So if you wanted to go to Ja today, you could. I don't know if it's a slate for it, but he's got 8% ownership on him. Everything here, though, projected under 10%. Scottie Pippen Jr., not a great play at this point. Santi Aldama, price tags come up. He's still playable at the wing. You need power forwards, you need small forwards. That's fine. He's okay on that front. 2% ownership, but I don't really love these plays right now. Feels like a lot of the value has been squeezed out of the pricing, even though just a little bit soft today because it's a $5 tournament on DraftKings, I believe. For Cleveland, you got 115.3 implied points. New Orleans 108.3 implied points. Some Q tags right now for Zion. That would obviously affect things as well. Alvarado also questionable, which would up a lot of point guard minutes that, frankly, I don't even know they have to fill it. I guess they could start throwing Jalen Noel in the mix right away. Guy has played fairly well at Minnesota before. But pretty big questions right now in New Orleans. If they're all going right now, nobody looks that playable here besides maybe Alvarado. Even then, don't love him that much. On Cleveland's side, Mobley looks okay. I've got Mitchell lower than Stokastic. He's not been producing quite as well so far this year in terms of assist rates. That's a big part of it. Giving up a lot more to Garland. You look at these two rates here. You got 27% usage for Garland, 32.5% assist rate. Flipping that, you're getting 32.7% for Mitchell in terms of usage, 21.4% for him in terms of assist rate. So he's just possessing the ball a little bit less. As a result, the projections are down for me a little bit. That said, no real issue with Mitchell. I just think the price is a little bit high for what his role has been because he's definitely ceding possessions right now to Garland, to Mobley, even Ty Jerome in the second unit. Like sometimes Mitchell will just kind of let him go for a little bit. So Mitchell to me is just kind of playing back. Like sometimes, guys perceive themselves to be stars to be. I'm sure he's saving himself up for the playoffs for a Cleveland team that frankly can make a run this year. It is the $5 special, with 100K. So I do think they make the pricing a little bit softer on those days. So that could be why. And the fact, too, you have so many, good amount of injuries as well. That kind of pairs together here where it's like a pretty soft slate overall. So, you can get weird. Getting 81% Najee. Well, we're not there yet, but the next game, but definitely had a lot of Najee for everybody today. I might be 100% Najee, not to spoil it out too much. For New Orleans, so basically wait for the Zion news. Right now, nothing that playable. If he goes out, if he and Alvarado both go out, there's a lot of value here, but Cleveland should win by like 100. Like if they're down to just Ingram and Jordan Hawkins and Missy at center, Brandon Boston gunning, I don't know how they stay in that game. But Brandon Boston would probably start to gun more if there were Alvarado out or Zion out. Chicago, 114 implied points. Dallas, 123.5. Huge total here with Dallas missing Derek Lively today, so that's a really big minutes gap they're going to have there. It will make Daniel Gafford look a little bit better. Najee Marshall, though, as Eddie was talking about, the big beneficiary here. I've got him as a 9x value today. He's currently projected for 81% ownership, so Eddie's getting him right with the field here, 81% ownership based on these Stokastic projections. Of course, 15% off, promo code SPLASH, link in the description for Stokastics, all their data and tools if you want to check it out. Besides that, Luka Doncic, again, looks like a really strong play. I've got him lower than Stokastic, still him at 60.3. So frankly, think on this slate, you could play Luka and Jokic together. You could play Luka and Anthony Davis. You could play Jason Tatum and you could play a lot of stuff here. Stars and scrubs very much in play tonight. That said, the ownership here, 25%, rounding up a little bit there. Maybe you want to go to Kyrie Irving more to try to get leverage against it. But Luka's producing a little bit less than I would hope for this year. He's only at 1.39 fantasy points per minute. Today, I would have him at 1.64 because of what Lively leaves behind. And a lot of minutes to go around overall on this team. Besides that, Marshall produces enough in every category on the year. A 12% usage, 9% rebound rate, 22.5% assist rate. If I were to tweak his rates to really reflect more the longer-term sample size, which I did do, I'd have him projected even higher. I'd have him at 32 fantasy points today. So for Najee Marshall, it's not one of those small sample size thing. It's just he's this player. He's projected to get 32.9 minutes. It's hard to imagine him not getting it, getting basically some 4-time, some 5-time. He's playing a lot, with what the rotation is going to be right now. Chicago side, nothing here I love. Iota Sunmu does come up a good amount in Sims. I also have him about 5 points more than Stokastic does. If one of these guys were out, the Zach LaVine shot, he might not play, but I don't expect it. Sunmu would look a little bit better. Sunmu did just play well in tournaments the other day, so it feels a little bit chasey. Fortunately, I didn't play him that much the other day. I was like, Sunmu, he doesn't feel like a legit play. I thought my projections were stupid. That said, they look good again here, so I would flag Sunmu. Everybody else here, not that great. Vooch, lower owned center play, 1% owned. Theoretically has some upside, but this lineup's honestly a little bit too crowded. Like too many guys with 25%-ish usage. When you have like 4 guys around that usage, and even Jalen Smith coming off the bench, gets a little bit too crowded for me to want to go to. Love these old-timey graphics. It's just my Excel sheet. This is my projections. What am I going to do? I'm not going to make fancy graphics for a fucking 12-game slate. Jesus. Miami, 108.3. I'm one person here. I'm just one man showing you gambling. What can I do? 108.3 implied points for Miami, 113.8 for Phoenix. Tyler Hero, 16% owned. I'm getting him a lot. Miami overall, though, I think looks pretty good. A little bit of a pace-up spot against Phoenix, competitive game against Phoenix as well. So Butler, not a play anybody else is going to be playing. 3% looks fine here. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about my fucking Excel stuff. like man, I know it's not fancy, but I'm just trying to show you guys the numbers. Fair enough, Ryan. I appreciate it. Thank you. I made it myself in Canva. I'll take the compliment. Thank you. But yeah, so for Miami, I like these guys. I don't think Phoenix runs away from them. Defensively, they are a tougher team, but frankly, not playing that well defensively to start the year. So these guys you can go to here. Tyler Hero, though, with dual position eligibility and that price tag, I think looks the best. And maybe, frankly, that should probably make Terry Rozier a little bit more appealing. Though Hero on the year, highest usage guy on the team, and a little bit lower in assist rate than Jimmy Butler, but still second highest assist rate, 25.2% on Miami. For Phoenix's side of the equation, Yusuf Nurkic looks okay at $5,300 salary, kind of a pivot point to Goga Bitadze, 3% owned. He's not playing enough minutes right now. They haven't wanted to give him full run, which you get given the fact he's kind of a defensive liability in a lot of matchups. Everybody else here, Race O'Neal on the wing, Grayson Allen on the wing, dual position eligibility for those guys, maybe, but not lots of love. And here's the last game on the DraftKings slate, right? It's just the FanDuel slate down below. And we'll look at some Sims, and we'll look at Unabated in a moment here for the pick'em stuff and the sports betting markets. We got Oklahoma City, 115 implied points. Denver, 108 implied points. Chet Holmgren projects pretty well for me. I'm a little bit lower on SGA right now than Stokastic is. Not of ownership to anybody here, though. Everybody under 5%. Jalen Williams being the high point. Jalen Williams, I've mentioned a few times in the deeper dive, which we'll be doing after this show, by the way, on the Stokastic stream with my pal Josh Engelman. So tune into that too, and you'll hear less of me, a little more nuanced conversation going on around things. Jalen Williams has been killing it this year. 1.19 fantasy points per minute. Usage up to 26.4%. Assist rate up to 23%. I feel like for Jalen Williams overall, I think it's a pretty good situation for Jalen Williams. And, again, dual position eligibility, price tag might work a little bit. I don't know if I got him sim-wise, because actually I should make sure of that. I got him 5% in the Sims, so not a big stand on Jalen Williams, but I do think he's a play worth noting, at least being with the field on, because he's playing like not a new man, but like the best version, I think, of what we've seen in the past so far. But Holmgren really the play here for me. Isaiah Joe, Wiggins in particular as a value. These guys are okay, but not really the best plays. In terms of savings, though, and the stars and scrub kind of build, Wiggins might work for you. Denver, I have Nikola Jokic projected crazily here. I've got him at 69 fantasy points, which might be the highest natural projection I've had. For comparison's sake, the last time I've had a guy this high was Trae Young the other day when he went off, when I had him on the thumbnail and was like, I think he's the best play in the slate. And he wasn't quite projected that well by other people. So to me, as long as they hang in this game here, it is a tough match against OKC on paper. They're 7-point favorites on the road. I do think Jokic looks like the best play in the slate and a priority. He's only 14% projected owned right now, which seems kind of crazy given the value opening up on the slate. But I think Jokic is one of the strongest plays. I would would cape for him, especially too because you have this much ownership for Westbrook, where you lever against Westbrook, not play him in that lineup. You also play him with Jokic and just get a little more production in this game. Maybe cut your parlay of this game's exploding. You could play maybe one of these guys on the way back. We talked about a few on the OKC side, but I think there's an interesting way to play this tonight as long as Denver can stay competitive. And I think Jokic is going to try to keep him competitive. So I have him tonight based on court time without Murray and Gordon. Jokic's rates looked ridiculous to me. I would have him at 33.6% usage, 21% rebound rate, 46% assist rate. So he's been, not too far off of that generally on the year. But I think this is like the smash spot of smash spots. Again, I got him at 1.96 fantasy points per minute, which is crazy. Probably a little bit overprojected. Could be. You see Stokastic has him at 60.4. But I think to me, when I see a differential here where I have Jokic here, I also have Luka projected well, but not quite as well as Stokastic. I'm going to lean in Jokic's way tonight and probably get him in a lot of entries. Came in late. Did you cover the Rui Q tag? I did. The minutes right now, the projections I have in here, if you want to scroll back, I'll just show you real fast. The minutes I have in here now would reflect him being out, and basically Reeves gains a little bit more, Russell gains a little bit more, LeBron gains a little bit more. Minutes wise, though, in terms of the value, guys, nobody gains enough here to be useful. And then Cade, Wemby, Chet, my pay ups on that single entry. Yeah, it's fine. Not crazy about Cade today, and frankly, Wemby, I think I really would prefer Jokic, but I certainly get the how and why. Let's start on Stokastic right now, and we're going to look at Unabated the second their projections come out here at 4:30, because that is the best edge I'll have for you guys for the pick'em stuff. But I'm going to load these Stokastic lineups in here. We'll get the process going. And of course, Stokastic, what we're going to do, build 5,000 lineups based off their projections, then sim them out 10,000 times to find out the best lineups today for the DFS slate. Their projections have been updated in a few hours, but nothing has changed besides the Wemby, not the Wemby status, the Rui status, where Rui was doubtful. Now he's questionable. So closer to playing, one would think. Illness is the thing for Rui as well. So I'm not sure if he plays still. Would think he doesn't, but an upgrade midday does tend to indicate better shot than not of getting in. So 40-60 for him playing. Let's see what we get here. Of course, guys, if you're watching live and you love somebody chewing on ice in the middle of a stream, please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Your support goes a long way for me. Brand new channel here, trying to get this off the ground. So please help me out here. Every day I go live, 4 p.m. Every day there's an NBA slate. So I didn't do it yesterday because we didn't have one. Besides that, though, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. I'll be doing this process here. We get to see my projections, Stochastics, the ownership, see where we are as of 4 o'clock on the East Coast. We look at some sims on Stokastic. We also look at the betting sims on Unabated. So that's the fun thing as well. And I know we're giving a real good edge for some of the bets we've been giving out on stream here. And of course, using conditional NBA projections that I will shill for momentarily. Should probably log into that in another tab while this is loading. If I were a smarter man. We're ranking these lineups. I love when the sim, it lets you know it's doing hard work. It updates me accordingly. I'll tell you what. Which is all I want out of my simulated employees. All right. Here we go. Top lineups right now, according to Stokastic projections. You got Cade Cunningham, Derek White, LeBron James, Josh Hart, Mo Wagner, Russell Westbrook, Najee Marshall, and Jalen Duren. So actually getting a pretty balanced build here. I guess maybe some assumption that there might be people playing a little too much of the stars and scrubs stuff in the sim, but that's interesting to see up top. Your number 2 lineup, though, we do have some studs. We got Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Najee Marshall, Tobias Harris, Goga Bitadze. So they have Goga as well. It's good to see. Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Zach Edey. Very matchup dependent, but Zach Edey, I guess you can make the case for today. Luka Doncic, Derek White, OG Anunoby, LeBron, Jalen Duren, Russell Westbrook, Najee Marshall, and Keita, Nemias Keita. That's your number 3 ROI one. You are getting LeBron in your top 3 lineups. So the Sims right now love LeBron, even though they still have AD in. So they're going to love LeBron even more if AD were out. So keep that in mind. Your number 4 ROI lineup, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Anunoby, LeBron, Zach Edey, Luka Doncic, Najee Marshall, Russell Westbrook. So I think these are all reflecting really the lack of Rui right now. So even if Rui were back in, but AD were out, it would probably look the same. I think just really the main thing is that the Lakers rotation would be so short. These guys are all going to look better for the minutes they're getting. So if you were to fade that game, what would you be missing out on? Fade Lakers, Memphis. We're not really playing on the Memphis side. Yeah, I mean, look, one move if you want to get away from the sim pool would just be to take the Lakers players out and just sim how that would do without that, because I don't know, they're like must-have plays if AD's in. And I like AD enough, but like you're not getting him here, you're getting all these other guys. Your number 5 ROI lineup here, then we'll look at the overall and we'll hop over to Unabated. You got Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Amen Thompson, LeBron, Mo Wagner, Westbrook, Najee Marshall, Kata. So you're getting a pretty good read here of what you're getting. You're getting LeBron, you're maybe getting Kata, you're definitely getting Russ, you're definitely getting Najee, and you're getting everything else rotating around that. So that seems to be the core of the top ROI lineups right now. Top exposures in the top 150 currently. Lots of type. Willie said, I subscribe. Yay, thank you. I appreciate you subscribing. Can you start doing like your top 2 or 3 splash plays? Could. I'll see if I can put it on the data sheet and maybe sort the projections. I was thinking of doing that anyway. But I'll try to keep that in mind. Today, for me, it would probably be, off the top of my head, it would be Jokic. And then hopefully it's 1-2 where like there's nothing surprising about Jokic, but Jokic just projects so well for me. I think he's crucial. Jokic, Najee Marshall, I think has to be one for what he represents in terms of the value. And number 3 would be, I think it would be Suggs for me. I do like Suggs enough. Westbrook's okay though too. Westbrook is the chalk version of that. So Westbrook or Suggs, pick your poison. All right, top lineups overall. So Najee Marshall in 99% of lineups. The sim saying he's a perfect play. If you were to play him failing though, one thing you can do is just take him out of the sim, rerun the sim, and Suggs makes me tug. Thank you for our guy Robert Griffin III. So Najee Marshall, that would be one way to do that. Frankly, tonight, if you wanted to really get away, and for NBA, it doesn't work the same way as NFL. Take Westbrook out, take Najee Marshall out, see what you get. It's going to change the way you get players for sure. But on a slate this big, you can just move away from the chalk if you really wanted to. The issue is that Najee Marshall projects so well, makes your life a lot easier, especially with the dual position eligibility at small forward and power forward. That's that. Do I like Suggs over White? Same price. I've got Suggs. We went through it before, but I'll look it up one more time. Suggs, I've got at 43. White, I've got at 40.6. So yeah, it would be a favoring Suggs for me, but they're both perfectly fine plays. If you favor White, I wouldn't be crazy at you for it. Other top exposure players, we got Russell Westbrook in 87% of lineups, Luka in 67. So you're not getting Jokic, you are getting Luka. That's one thing. If you just want to change one part in Stokastic, I think that's one you can do. You're all good. You're all good. I just like it. If you want to look at projections things, you can maybe scroll back, but it's probably a better way for me to do it too. LeBron, 54%. Austin Reeves, 53%. He's getting 20% of ownership right now, so they want you to get a lot on these Lakers, which, again, is assuming AD is in, but obviously reflecting Rui being out right now. Kata, you're getting 37% compared to 36%, so they do like Kata quite a bit. Peyton Watson, a guy that I think is an okay play, being with the field on him feels right. 31% compared to 33%. For Bitadze, you're getting 30% compared to 12.5%. So they are still bullish on him, even though I thought they wouldn't be quite as much as I am. Bitadze to me projects a lot better than Stokastic does. Anunoby looks okay, 27% compared to 15%. Duran, you're getting a 23 compared to 9. So getting a lot of mid-price centers paying up at guard. So the way to flip that would be you could still play Najee, still play Westbrook, but you pay up at center, and that's it. So that's how I try to build uniquely based on the Sims. But let's see the other Sims here. The unabated Sims. Check them out over here. Overlook your splash plays at the bottom of the screen. Still needs context because people the info as they come in. Maybe. I don't know. Like I don't really view slates like that because I don't want to give away the answers to the test. Like I don't think that's good for anybody. But I take the feedback earnestly and we'll see. Anything that makes more work though is a little bit tough, but we'll see what we can do. All right, so let's sim this out right now. Top points players using the unabated NBA projections. Oh, you know what I should do, guys, before we do this? Sorry, I think we should play the video. Count them all on the screen and zoom in on things. Oh, do you like dynamic projections? DeJounte Murray, he's always out now, but you can pretend that he's sometimes in if you want the dynamic additional projections. Get real-time news. We can't trust the news on anything anymore. So now you can get your news exclusively through Unabated for real. You like graphs? You didn't see enough graphs yesterday? Oh, the counties are checking in. Unabated is sick is what they're reporting. 100% of pre-6 reporting you should subscribe for Unabated right now. It's a promo code SPLASH. The votes are in, gang. Expert game day live streams. Do that after you watch Splash Play. Count your money, too. You know the crowd is ready. Get ready. Inflation. Anyway, it's all top of mind. I kept that clean though. I didn't give anything away. We got graphs, so much blood flow. Everyone looking for free information handouts. Look, I owe them some. Look, that's my job. I get it. I appreciate the sentiment though. I try to straddle the line in between as best I can. Let's sort here though. Why won't you sort? Oh, we didn't sim it. That's why, because I'm an idiot. That's why it won't sort. So we're going to do with Unabated. What Unabated does, they use their conditional projections here made by their professional, high-caliber team. And the good thing about these CRs are, to a lesser extent, Unabated is just for the premium members of Unabated who are mostly betting focused. So if you were to pay for their projections, which I would encourage you to do using that sticker down below here, promo code SPLASH, link in the description and all that, you would have a really unique projection set. So they're not like making this a big deal, but I would say for you guys out there, if you're not like me and want to have your own projection set that maybe gives you some advantage, maybe some theoretical detraction based on what you're doing, use Unabated. It's like just make them take their numbers there. They have it so it's like split by points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers, whatever, turnovers, and just make projections off of that. And I guarantee you'll have a much more unique set of projections than anybody else out there. So that's another usage as well. But of course, the betting tool that we have on the screen right now is a great one too to get some real edge. So we simmed it out here. Your best lines right now include Josh Hart under 12.5 points. He's projected for 11.7. Right now you get 9.1% EV if you take that bet at minus 115 odds on DK Sportsbook. You're also going to get about 8% EV if you do it on PrizePicks and Underdog at under 12.5 there. So good bet for Josh Hart under 12.5 or lower on 12.5, depending on the platform that you're playing on. We got Mikal Bridges under 18.5 points right now. Unabated has him projected for 17.2. He's got 8.6% EV on under 18.5 points. Minus 125 on DK Sportsbook is that bet. A little bit of EV on PrizePicks, but probably not as much to play on PrizePicks. For Karl-Anthony Towns, you're getting value on the over 21.5. Unabated NBA projections have him at 22.9 points. You're getting value on minus 105 odds. So be nicer if it were plus money, but getting 7% EV, minus 105 odds here for Karl-Anthony Towns for 21.5 points. This one, it's cusp playable for the sim. You'd want to be a little bit higher, but anything over 2% EV in an EV calculation is usually fine to go with. You got Tim Hardaway Jr. under 12. He has been losing minutes to Malik Beasley, so if you want to justify it with some basketball stuff, you can do it that way as well. He's projected for 11.7 points, getting 3% EV if you put it on PrizePicks right now, under 12 points the line on there. Let's go to rebounds, sim this out as well. Of course, Unabated, again, link in the description. Check it out. Really cool tool. Of course, IS7 had seen a lot of tools in the space and even built one for a while there. I've been really impressed by it. It's the biggest cosign I can give you. All right, Karl-Anthony Towns, projected today for 12.4 rebounds. Pretty high number. Old school Andre Drummond rebound numbers for Towns projected today. 15.3% value and over 11. So that's a pretty big discrepancy. You can add the one to your PrizePicks card. You're also getting about 12.5% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook at minus 142. On FanDuel as well, 10.4% EV. So that line just seems inefficient based on the projections right now for Karl-Anthony Towns. Josh Hart getting 9% EV on over 9.5 rebounds today. Minus 130 odds on this one, projected for 10.9 rebounds. So again, great DFS play for that reason as well. Getting some EV on PrizePicks too, 5.8%. For Josh Hart, over 10.9, or I guess over 9.5 rebounds, projected for 10.9. OG Anunoby, getting close to the unplayable range, but 6% EV here, over 4.5 rebounds, minus 110 odds on DK Sportsbook. Probably don't want to play that one on PrizePicks and Underdog, but you could, over 4.5 on there as well. And Bridges, probably wouldn't play Bridges. Let's go to assists. See what we have here. Really would have thought a little more EV on here, but all right. Sim this out too. All right, what are we getting for the top lines currently? Go the other way. There we go. So more Knicks stuff. So Knicks really undervalued by the markets, it seems, for whatever reason here compared to Unabated's projections. Are you getting Mikal Bridges under 3.5 assists? He's projected for 3.1. You get 15% EV. Adding that to a PrizePicks card right now does not look like as good of a bet on DK Sportsbook. Jalen Brunson, you're getting 7% EV on under 6.5 assists. Plus 115 odds. Whenever I see that positive EV, even if it's not quite 8, plus money on it, I'd probably take that. So under 6.5, plus 115 on that one. And you can take it on PrizePicks as well, under 7, a little bit less EV at 6.5% for Jalen Brunson, under 7 assists. Josh Hart, 6% EV on under 4.5 assists. You're getting 4.8% EV on Underdog and PrizePicks under 4.5. And Luka Doncic, you're getting under 9.5 with 5% EV, minus 148 odds for his assist line, again on DraftKings, under 9.5. Projected for 8.7 today. Feels a little bit low, but maybe not having Lively out there doesn't hurt. Underdog giving 1.1x on 11.5 rebounds. Oh, there you go. A little bit of value on it. Don't mind that. Let's do PRAs, and then we will close it out for the day here. And again, if you want to see me go game by game, number one, I'll be doing it again on Stokastic, obviously a little more depth. My pal Josh Engelman. Number two, you can just skim back, go from the top here. I go in order of the games and when they start. So if you want to go see some of the teams that I talked about before, feel free to check that out. I feel like we're missing some projections on here. No, just a few games are getting updated. Not sure what the deal is with that. Anyway, we got some other plus EV bets up top here. Oh, what are we doing? All right, we got, oh, there we go. Felt like we were missing a few games, and now they're kind of filtering in. So we got value on the under for PRAs for Chris Paul. That bums me out. I'd like him as a DFS play today, as I mentioned. But 19.6% EV on under 25.5 PRAs. Minus 105 odds on DK Sportsbook. A little bit less playable on PrizePicks and Underdog at under 24.5. And that 1 point, by the way, if you're new to these videos and you're just checking out to get some easy betting picks in, that 1 point of differential in PRAs and points and whatever, it matters so much. Like, it affects the expected value of your equation so tremendously. Like, please be mindful of that 1 point here when we point out 25.5 versus 24.5, especially for an under. Obviously, for an over, it'd be better. Karl-Anthony Towns, you're getting over 35.5 PRAs, 14.9% EV on that. You take it on DK Sportsbook at minus 110 odds. On PrizePicks, you're getting 8.1% EV on over 36. Underdog, 11.1% EV on over 35.5. So you can really see it spelled out here. You're getting the best odds at minus 110 on DK Sportsbooks. That creates the highest EV. You're getting less good odds and a harder line here, so you get a little bit less EV. And then in between here, the mama bear of lines be Underdog. We're getting the same line as DraftKings Sportsbook, but at minus 118 odds technically. Kai Branham here, under 13.5 PRAs, 10.3% EV on that. Stefan Castle, and that's an Underdog. Stefan Castle, under 16.5 PRAs. You're getting 9% EV at Underdog for that as well. So pretty easy once to add to a pick'em slip on there. Harrison Barnes, 8.9% EV on under 17.5 PRAs. He sucks. That's a pretty fine one to take. Minus 105 on DK Sportsbook. We don't want to do that. Does not look quite as good on PrizePicks at Underdog, and seems like it's unavailable on Underdog. And Mikal Bridges, under 25.5 PRAs. That one's got 8.6% EV and 5.1% EV at under 25.5 on PrizePicks and Underdog. So they got this one done in 40 minutes. So I feel like this is a pretty good time by me. If anybody has any questions or requests here, feel free to drop it in chat. But otherwise, I'm going to regroup. Again, Stokastic, have the deeper dive coming up at 5 p.m. with my pal Josh Engelman. That'll be coming up for me today and tomorrow. I don't know if it's the same time tomorrow, but basically same thing happening for me tomorrow. Of course, these videos I do every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. thanks to our partners at Unabated. So number one, please support Unabated. $30 off the promo code SPLASH, all their monthly packages. Go check that out for yourself at Unabated right now. Also, go check out Underdog. Check out Stokastic. Promo code SPLASH works on there as well. Stokastic, get 15% off the data and tools that I talk about and show on stream here. So please check those out. Chat coming in. Take my shirt off. That's not the kind of chat question I was hoping for here, but it's all good. I'll be back tomorrow with more, guys. So hit that subscribe button before you go. Hit the like button. Again, I hope this is a helpful part of your process here every day at 4 p.m. That is my goal. And of course, tonight it's a cheap tournament. So put in some entries. I'm not going to have a lot of time to obsess over them enough. So I'm putting in 10 entries in the $5. I would say for you guys out there with the $5 one, get as many as you want in because it's a good slate to do it for. And I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. again. So I'll see you guys then. Gamble responsibly. Even it's always money time. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Subscribe, like, do that. And back tomorrow with more. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye.